Hi, my name is Julie. I am a professional counselor in South Carolina, and this is my co-counselor, Ed. Today, we're going to finish up the discussion of boundaries. The boundary today is on our thoughts. Did you know that you can have boundaries around what you say and what you don't say, and express boundaries to others regarding what they discuss around you? You can. Sit back and let's learn about this together. You know, I've heard it said that a boundaried person is a walled off person, that boundaries are a way of walling ourselves off from interconnectedness and healthy relationships. Well, I want to tell you that the research doesn't actually flesh that thought out. And Brene Brown, who happens to be one of my heroes, I fangirl Brene Brown. Brene, please watch this at some point. But I do. I love Brene Brown and her research and for what she has brought to the world. And what she discovered in her research was that the people who had the healthiest boundaries were actually the most compassionate and empathetic people. Why is that? Why is it that a healthy boundary would relate to compassion and love for others? Well, let's think about it for a second. Now, intellectual boundaries refer to our thoughts and our ideas, what we carry around with us, our impressions of the world. And my thoughts and ideas might be different than your thoughts and ideas, but I'm allowed to have different thoughts and ideas, and I'm also allowed to express them. I'm also allowed to listen to other people's thoughts and ideas. But there are times where my boundaries would say, in this situation, I'm not going to do it. So what do I mean? Let's say you're going to a family function, a Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas, both of those have just passed, and we go into this family function and we know that there are people on both sides of the very divided world of politics. We've got staunch Democrats and we have ardent Republicans, and they are in their corners ready to fight. Intellectual boundaries would say that's not the arena to discuss politics. It's a family function. People are very set in their ideas, and they're going to come out with both guns blazing, not really listening to the ideas of the other, but to prove a point, to win. Intellectual boundaries say that I'm going to share concepts and ideas in arenas where it is safe to discuss those ideas. In a professional sphere, I might walk into a meeting where everybody else has been talking and then my opinion is asked. I start to state my opinion and then somebody else jumps in. So an intellectual boundary would be to turn to that person and very kindly and politely say, I wasn't finished speaking yet. Hold that thought, let me finish what I have to say, and then I'll pass it along to you. I can hear people going, ooh. Yeah, it is a little bit cringy, right? It's uncomfortable to assert boundaries. Even in an arena where it's more social, where we go out with friends, there sometimes is a person who starts to speak and other people start speaking over them. As people start to learn their boundaries, they might speak up in that arena as well and say, I'm not done speaking yet, give me a chance. And if you're observing it, you might say to the person who jumped in, hey, hold on for a second, they weren't done talking, and give them back the floor. It's about respect. It's about respect of the boundaries of the thoughts of the other person, that they're worth hearing. As Brene said, boundaries help us define what's okay and what's not okay. And if I don't speak up for what's not okay in those arenas, I become resentful and bitter and closed off. And it becomes very difficult to have a conversation in a professional sphere, even in a private social sphere, when discussing my own ideas, if I haven't had appropriate boundaries. Let me tell you what boundaries in a personal setting might look like. And we've had to do this in the past with family members, to sit down and say, listen, when you have angry arguments in front of us, it makes us feel uncomfortable. So we're going to ask that if you're having those disagreements with one another, those intellectual disagreements, that you discuss it when we're gone. And if you are having them while we're here, we're going to politely excuse ourselves, because frankly, we're getting hit by the shrapnel, right? It's not comfortable to be there when people are fighting about their ideas in front of you. So you're allowed to say that. And it took some time to kind of go through this together, but it was worth it. When we are clear with our boundaries, then we are free to be kind. People don't have to guess what it is we mean. We're not getting upset inside because they're not listening to us. And if somebody happens to not listen to us, we can excuse ourselves from the conversation. If we are continually not being heard at work for our ideas, we can look for another job. We can look for an opportunity to find employment elsewhere where they will hear our ideas. I do encourage you to go to your higher-ups before you do that and say, listen, this is what I've been experiencing. And when somebody continually talks over me because I'm more soft-spoken than the rest, when they talk over me, I feel devalued and dismissed and less important, and it hurts. So I'm going to ask that that not happen, that everybody be given the same opportunity to be able to say what they need to say. Unaddressed boundaries lead to distance, resentment, and cold feelings. If you've addressed something and it comes back up again, say in your personal relationship, where you've asked to not be interrupted while you're expressing your ideas to your significant other, and they continue to do that, and you have said, I would like to ask you not to interrupt me, because when you do, it makes me feel less than. It makes me feel like I don't matter. It makes me feel inferior, and I want to feel equal in this relationship. So you address it, and maybe when it comes back up again, you can say, wait a second, this is what I'm talking about. So I'm going to ask that you let me speak, and maybe we need to take a break if you're too upset right now to hear it. But I want to be able to say my thoughts and feelings on this as well. It's also important that we're aware that some thoughts and some feelings and some intellectual ideas may not be appropriate in some situations. Like I expressed earlier, in the situation where you're going to a family function, you maybe don't want to talk politics there. If you aren't firm in your ideas, if you're just exploring things, go to somebody and say, listen, I'm exploring these thoughts and these ideas. Can you just be a sounding board for me for a little bit so I can figure out what it is I really think? We all need to have safe people to do that with, because sometimes we don't know what we think on a topic. And that's when we really get ripped apart, when we present our ideas. But if we know what we think and what we feel, we're better able to present those things. So I hope you understand that there are times when we should speak and times when we shouldn't speak. But we always have the right to say what is on our mind. Sometimes we need to find a different group of people to say it to. Thank you for joining me here today at Orange Therapy on YouTube. If you liked what you heard and you learned something, please like, subscribe, and share it with somebody else so that they can learn as well. And I hope you join me next time here at Orange Therapy on YouTube, where you are welcome, just as you are.